Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make a card using the Love from Lizi Spring Friends card kit, and this is the March 2023 card kit. This is card 10, my final card using this kit. If you have a look down in the description below, you'll see that there are links to Lizi's website, links to the products I use, as well as links to the previous 9 cards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and make card 10. So for this card, I have all my pieces ready here. This is going to be a layered book card. So when you open it up, it'll look like a book. And I know that there has been plenty of crafters have done this kind of style of card. Sam from Mixed Up Crafts, just to name one. But this is my version of it. So here we go. I have a piece of white cardstock here. It measures 12 by 6. I've scored it at 6, and that is going to give us a 6 by 6 card base. A lot of the shop bought 6 by 6 cards that come with envelopes. If you actually look, the card base is generally either 5 3/4 or 5 7/8. It's the envelope that is usually 6 by 6 inches. So if you're not making your card base yourself but using a shop bought one, you might just check the measurements of that and then work down accordingly, like what I have here. Okay, so now I just want to show you on the back, I have popped a little piece of some of the pattern paper. This piece measures 3/4 of an inch by, let me just check. It was an offcut that I'm using. That's why I just popped it on there. So it's about 5 1/4 inches on the back. And that's because inside the card we're going to have a lot going on. You can write your message on the inside of the card, and you'll see that as we move through all the pieces that I'm going to use. But I've left this as an option for myself. I can either write on the back or put my stamped Blonde Cards and Crafts logo on the back. Okay, I'm also going to be using the peel-offs that came in the kit this month. This is my first time using them in the cards, but I have used other peel-offs that I have in my stash. These are lovely. They're like a glitter peel-off. They're no shed, which is fabulous, and they're kind of a pinky lilac color. I really like them. Another product that I'm using for this card is this. It's one of the add-ons from the this month, and I love this die. I just think it's so cool. So I'm using this twice, and I'm using the happy birthday once. I'm also going to use a stamp from my stash. It's a made to surprise happy birthday stamp, but you can use whatever you have in your stash. So we've looked at the card base. Let's have a look at all the rest of the pieces we'll need. So for the outside of the card, I have these two. This piece measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and this piece measures 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. It's pattern paper from the kit, and the cardstock is from my stash. It's the little Crelando cardstock, and I know this yellow, you wouldn't kind of put it with with this card, but I felt it really does match the little yellow that's in some of the other pattern paper, and that's why I went for that. So that's the front of the card. I've also die cut out this piece. It's the happy birthday. I die cut it out a couple of times and inlaid it, and I have some foam tape on the back. I've also die cut out the cake. So I'm going to layer this piece, which measures 5 1/4 by 1 inch, and then 5 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. And you can see there I've put some of the peel-offs on it. I'm going to pop this on the pattern paper, and then I'm going to add my cake on there. So it's like as if it's sitting on the tablecloth. And then my happy birthday will sit astride that, and that's the front. I'll probably add some sequins to the front of this in the gold, but that'll be all because this card is going to be displayed open. Okay, so moving on then, I have this piece again of the yellow cardstock. It measures 11.5 by 5 3/4, and on the back I have 2 pieces of double-sided tape next to the score line. I've also taken my bone folder or scoring tool, and I found it easier to do it this way. I've just put the scoring tool down on my cardstock, and then using my hand I have pulled the cardstock up towards me, and by doing this it gives a lovely little curve to our cardstock. So our cardstock will be stuck down here near the score line, so when it's folded flat, the whole thing will fold flat. But because we have done this scoring to it, when the card is open, it'll want to sit up like this. So that's why I've done that. So next I have a piece of white cardstock, and this white cardstock measures 11 inches by 5.5 inches. I have scored it then down the middle, and I have added some of the ribbon that came in the kit. I have taken some red liner tape, and what I did was I put the 1/8 liner tape just this side of the score line and just this side of the score line, and then I put my ribbon on top of that. And the reason for that is if I put it over the middle of the score line, it wouldn't have folded, and I want this piece to fold over. You can see here on the back again, I've added my 2 strips of double-sided tape, and just in case you wanted to know how wide this double-sided tape is, it's 1/2 inch wide. So that's my next layer. On top of them then I have 2 pieces of pattern paper. These measure 5 by 5, and I have 2 pieces of white cardstock. They measure 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I have 2 of them here ready for each side. So I have this piece ready to go. You can see on my white piece of cardstock, I've stamped my sentiment, and I have embossed it in gold embossing powder, so it has a lovely gold sheen to it. I've taken some of the ribbon and I've tied a little bow, and I've just used a little glue dot there to stick that down. I've then taken 2 strips of pattern paper. These measure 4 1/4 by 1/2 inch, and I have stuck them down, and I've also added some of the thin peel-offs at the top and the bottom. So what I will do is I will take another piece of the pattern paper, I have it here, and I'll stick this down. Then I'll add my peel-offs and I'll curve them just around so they stick onto the back, and then I'll stick that on top of there, and then I'll give it a little curve like what I've done here. You can see on one side, this side here, which is going to be near the middle of the card, I have added some double-sided tape, and on this one I've just put a strip of foam tape. This foam tape is about an 1/8 of an inch thick. It's a very slim foam tape, and I've just added it there. It's in about 1/2 inch from the edge, because when this sits on top of this panel, it'll sit on like so, and rather than the edge being loose like it is on this one and the yellow one, this one will be stuck down in place, but the little bit of foam tape will give it a little lift. So that'll sit in there, and these 2 panels will sit in here. On top of my white piece here with our strip of pattern paper, I'm going to put my die cut cake, and you can see I did that in the gold, and when I was die cutting this out, I layered my gold cardstock and my yellow cardstock together. I set the die on top of that and put those 2 pieces of cardstock through the die machine at the same time. When I then took the die off, it had cut out my gold piece, but it had only indented really the yellow piece, so it was easy enough for me to actually snip off the little candles here at the back and you can see there I snipped off the base, but the rest of it has remained whole. So it means that the yellow that you can see behind stays in place. So that will sit on here like so. I'll add a few sequins then around that. So that's the premise for our card. All we need to do now is start assembling. So I'm going to tidy up here, get my layers together, and we'll start sticking everything down. So now you can see here I have my double-sided tape and I've added a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to pop my card, the yellow card, fold it over in half into my card base, and then I'm going to bring it up so it's, you know, touching off the front of the card like so. Now I want to make sure I've more or less an even amount at the top and the bottom. And once I'm happy with that, then I can push this over and fold it flat. And then I can add a little pressure. It'll catch on the double-sided tape, but it'll also give an extra gluing down because we've added some liquid glue. And you can see there that that's stuck in place. Now this piece is loose. It won't stick down, but we've got a little bit of shaping there. You can see the natural shaping, so it'll close down flat, but we've got a little bit of shaping there, so when the card is opened it'll want to sit like that. So now we've got to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to take off my double-sided tape. You could do both at the same time if you like. It's up to yourself really. I'm just going to do it this way. And you can see we have adequate room there so that when the card does close, the yellow part, this yellow card isn't going to show over the edge. So again, I'll just add that down and add a bit of pressure. And then we have that one. So it'll want to sit like so, because of how we have it closed. And you can see it does sit there nicely. So now we can add our next layers, our white layers on there, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm just going to speed this up. So we are now building up some bulk. You can see it here. There will be some bulk in the card base there at the center, especially with our added ribbon and everything, but that's to be expected. So I'm loving this so far. I think it's so cute. So now we just want to add in our panels now to this. So this panel is going to go on here, and then this panel with my cake is going to go on this side. So I'm going to add them on next. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my little cake to my panel. So now I'm going to add this panel onto our card. And again, I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. And then I can take off the foam tape once I've this piece added on. And now I can add this piece down. And I think I'll take off the foam tape backer at the same time. It'll make it easier. It's a little bit fiddly to get that off. And I'll just give those a chance now to dry. And then we can see that they will fold flat. There is a little bit of bulk in our card. That's okay. We can make our envelope a little bit bigger. If we make a 6.5 by 6.5 envelope, this will fit into it perfectly. Or you could make a box envelope for it, or you can just hand deliver it. And you can see then that all the little pieces, you can see our layers here, they lift up. And the same with this side, our layers lift up. And I think this one just needs a little bit more of a curve. There we go. But that's our lovely layered book card. Just now we need to add a little bit of embellishment to it, and to do that I'm going to use some of the sequins that came in the kit. So I'll add a couple here. I will take my accent glaze and I'm going to fill all our sequins on the outside, and then once that has set and dried, I'll then open my card and I will add some to my sequins on the inside. I see I just missed one there. I'd say you were all shouting at me, Simone, you missed one. There we go. Oh, that's a broken sequence, so we don't want to add that one. Add a different one. Actually, I won't. You can't even see where that was. So there we go. I'm delighted with this card. I think it sits lovely. It looks like a book when you open it inside. I would have liked to have the ribbon on the middle there, but again, I think if I was to do that, you'd need to add a spine to this card. So you'd need to add 2 score lines in here, so when the card closed, it closed with a proper spine. But I like it this way for going into an envelope. I think it's a really cute card. I love the pattern papers and how the colour scheme all matches, and I'm really delighted with this die that I got as well as part of the add-ons. I think it just looks lovely, and I love the way our pages are loose there as well. So that's it. That is card 10 using the March 2023 card kit from Love from Lizi called Spring Friends, as well as some of the add-ons too. If you've enjoyed my video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, subscribe and ding the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. All the links to the products and card measurements, etc. are down below in the description, as well as the link to my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts, where you can share your makes, as well as Lizi's Facebook group called Love from Lizi. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there, folks, and until the next one, which will be the unboxing of the April kit. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. So that's it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye bye.